So let's discuss some different types of housing and residential properties. Believe it or not, it may be part of your job to tell someone you are not a home buyer. All right? You are not a home buyer. It's the hardest thing in the world to do because you're just kissing away commission, you think. But let me tell you, after years of experience, there's nothing worse than showing somebody 80 homes and they can't get a loan. All right? So from the outset, you're going to say, sorry, I need to pay my car payment this month and earn a commission, but you ain't it. And I'm not wasting my time doing that because you got 3 bankruptcies, no money, and a 12 credit score. Yeah. So you ain't my client. Sorry. Okay? So it may be part of your job to actually tell somebody, here's the apartment guide. No, that's not right. Yeah, it is. Let's talk about some of the different types of houses you're going to deal with. The very first one on the list, SFD. We actually call it SFR. Single family residence. Probably 95% of everything that you will ever see. All right, remember I told you I was a numbers guy, not an artist. That's a house. It's the top view of a house, all right? So you see the roof of the house sitting on one lot. One house on one lot. Single family residence. You will also hear it called single family detached. Because it is detached from any other property. It's one house sitting in the middle of one lot. Probably 95% of us all live this way right now. Single family detached. SFD, sometimes you see it SFR-D, single family residence detached. Because what you also will see, it's not in your book, hint, hint, you might write this in, is this thing called single family residence attached. And for those of you at home, basically it's the same, it's 2 lots with 2 houses, but the houses are sharing a wall. Most of you guys want to call these condos. No, it's not a double either. All right? It's 2 lots with 2 houses. All right? They are just attached to each other. Sometimes you hear some people call them garden homes or walk-up homes. But it is 2 lots, 1, 2, with 2 homes. A double that somebody just mentioned is 2 homes sitting on 1 lot. 1 tax parcel has 2 residents on it. That's a double or a duplex. The single family attached has this thing called a 0 lot line. Meaning there's 0 feet between the 2 houses. They share the same wall, but that guy's got his own tax parcel that he pays real estate taxes on, and this guy has his own tax parcel. Not a very common thing to see. Bunch of them up in, there's a place called Home Place up at like 108th and College. I owned a couple of these as rentals for a while. They're single family residents attached. Okay? Double or a duplex is 2 residences, 1 lot. Now the next 3 I want to draw on the board, and I'm going to draw these, and they look exactly alike. You've got 3 4-unit buildings. Now, I know I'm not a very good drawer, so imagine these all 3 look identical. I want to talk about three more types of buildings. There's a condo, there's an apartment complex, and then there's a co-op. Does anybody know what a co-op is? We do not use them a lot in Indiana. A co-op is something where we all get together and own a company, and then the company owns the building. So we all own shares in it. All right? Not like a timeshare, but similar to. Okay? So there's three drawings on the board. Each has 4 units. Which one's the apartment, which one's the condo, and which one's the co-op? Oh, wait, let me help you out. On the board, I'm going to write the word 2. Above this one, I'm going to write the word 2. And above that one, I'm going to write the word 2. So if I said 2, which one of those do I mean? Depends on how you use it. It's called context. If I said I have 2 shoes, which one am I talking about? TWO. Same thing with these buildings. A condo, a co-op, and an apartment building all look exactly the same. So you have to talk to somebody and get context. If somebody says, I pay my landlord rent every month, which one do you think they're living in? It's an apartment, because you use the context. Oh, I own Unit A, and 25% of all the common area include the pool, the tennis court, and the parking lot. Which one is that? That's a condo. On the last one, I own 25% of the shares of the company, and we have signed what's called a proprietary lease. That's a word in your book I would know if I were you. Proprietary lease. Means, what is there, 3, 6, 9, 10, 12 of us? We all own 1/12, but I can't just go walking into Kayla's and go, well, I own 12 of it. No, she is going to sign a lease with the company that says she's going to live in A. I'm going to sign a proprietary lease with the group that says we're going to live in B. All right? So it's called a proprietary lease. That's just so that we all understand that I'm one that's responsible for B, even though we all own 1/12 of it. Understand that concept? Why would there be a co-op involved? What good's a co-op? There's a couple reasons that co-ops exist. All right? Most notably, one of the worst case reasons is because now we can control who buys the shares. All right? Somebody John wants to sell his shares, and we say, well, who's your potential buyer, John? Well, it's this person. Well, they don't go to the right school. They don't belong to the right yacht club. Lord forbid they're the wrong color, because you might have issues with that, or the wrong race. And you're going to see where fair housing problems can arise. But we cannot say, hey, John, the guy you want to sell to is not financially responsible, which could put all 11 of us in jeopardy, so you can't sell to him. So we can control who they sell shares of stock to. But in a condo, I can sell my Unit A by myself because I own it free and clear. It's my condo, all right? So you've got to know the context that you're speaking in to understand that. You guys know, how many Southsiders? You guys know where McFarland dead ends to stop 11? There's a stoplight right there, and if you're facing the stoplight, those buildings that sit right there, what are they? What do they look like? Looks like apartments, but if you read the sign, it says Harvard Square Co-op. It's a co-op. It's not an apartment complex. They look like it. That's the point I'm getting at, where you got to talk to somebody. They go, hey, I want to sell my apartment or my condo. Okay, where do you live? Well, I live in Harvard Square. Ooh, wait a minute. That's a co-op. You got shares of stock we need to deal with rather than real property. Part of your counseling when you start that we talked about.
With the real estate license, we can buy and sell co-op properties as well, though,
It depends on how the mortgage is written and how they're structured. Most probably not. You're going to need, can't sell shares of REITs like Simon. You guys know what Simon is. Even though it's real estate, he sells shares traded on the big board. Most co-ops, if they're selling shares, then you can't either without a Series 7 license. Now, some of them are written differently that will allow a broker. But once again, that's part of what you're going to have to look into. The next one's called a planned unit development, or a PUD. Had a whole different meaning for me when I was in high school. Someone was a PUD. You beat them up all the time because they were a PUD. Nobody? Okay. A planned unit development literally is what it says it is. The developer goes into the powers that be, lays out his plan and says, here's what I want to build. But I don't want to argue with you to get residential, C1, C4, special use, all of that. So I want PUD. A PUD is an asterisk. It's a wild card. Heartland Crossing is a PUD. It was one plan where the developer said, we're going to put food here, food there, shopping there, golf course there, church back there, high-end homes, low-end homes. But I don't want to argue with all of you all for that, so give me the asterisk and here's what I'll build. It's planned. Now, theoretically, they could have gave him the asterisk and he could have put the McDonald's way in the back and the house is up front. It would fit the definition of a PUD. But they would have probably stopped him and said, that's not what you planned. All right? So think of PUD like a snow globe. You know how you pick it up and shake it, set it back down, and all the flakes settle down? PUD's the same way. It's in that wild card. I'm going to throw in a house and a shopping center or McDonald's and shake them up and set them down wherever they land. Still fits. It's not smart, not a good build, maybe not what you thought, but a PUD's a wild card. Anything can go in it. Theoretically, you can be born, live, and die and never leave a PUD. Supposed to have everything involved. What's the other big one? Simon, the big mall up north. I can never remember it. What? No, not Keystone, not the Fashion. Clay Terrace. Is that what you said? Yeah. Clay Terrace is one. Heartland's the biggest one. All right? So that's a PUD. Now, a MUD, which is a mixed use, think of a PUD only stand it vertically. One building, different zonings in one building. Now, the difference here is they are distinct zonings. You cannot change them around. Once you get the first 3 floors approved for business, it's business. Then apartments, then hotels, then condo. All right? Like the Conrad downtown. First 3 floors, it has coffee and all that. Then there's a hotel in the middle, and then there's single-family condos on top they sell. All right? So a mixed use is one building, multiple zonings. Most every formalized city in the United States uses this concept so they can put more people in less space. Downtown, it's got commercial and then office space for them to work, or commercial and space to live so they can live downtown. They may have multiple commercial, office space, housing. It's called mixed use. But there is no zoning called mixed use. That's what I want you to clarify. There is a zoning called PUD. No zoning called a commercial and residential and the other together. Yes.
Would either of these be referred to as a strip mall?
As what?
A strip mall?
No. Would they refer to as a strip mall? No, a strip mall would just be straight commercial. You've got end caps, inline, all of that, but those will all be commercial, and they would probably be, and we're not going to get too involved, like C3, which says you can do this and this and this, but you can't do this. Like, for instance, car dealers have to be C5. That allows for outdoor overnight parking. car dealership. You can't sell a car sitting in the mall parking lot because it's not zoned for that. You want a body shop? C4. All right. You want a doctor's office? Maybe C2, but now we get into how many parking spots do you have? Because you got to have a certain number based on how many people are going to show up at a medical convenience store or medical shop. All right. Converted use. This is the chic thing. Remember the movie Flashdance? No? How old are you? Flashdance, where she lived in the old warehouse and it was her apartment. Sock factory downtown. The Stutz building downtown. Stutz building our office was in used to be a car. They used to build automobiles. Now it's an office building. They've converted the use. Industrial buildings are made into apartments. That's converted use. It was designed as one. They went through the zoning process and changed it to another. Much easier to go down the line than up the line. It's easier to go from industrial to residential than it is to go from residential up the chain to industrial. Yeah, factory built, who cares? We're not going to get into, all I know for a fact is I live in a modular home. See, that's my last name. It's not a modular or manufactured. You can't, it's hard to keep those apart anymore. Stick built, we're stick built home. Yeah, but you build it in a warehouse, you know, in Idaho and shipped it out, put it together. There used to be a company called Dura. They would panelize their stuff. The wall would come out with the insulation in it, the drywall on one side, the aluminum siding on the other, and they'd stand them up, put the pen in the corner. We built a house in a day. Well, that's because you built it all in panels prior to that. There are some commercial buildings, what they call tilt-up buildings. They pour the cement walls somewhere else and bring them on site and stand them up, and, oh, we built the building in 12 hours. We're not going to get into a lot of that in this. The modular, the mobile, manufactured, all of that.